Oh, look. Look. Look, this way. Oh, he doesn't want to look. Anyway, what's up, man? So today's Fresh Friday I'm going to give you is a dude named Nils Frahm. Nils Frahm, I've probably told you about him before, but I figured I would give you a deeper dive because I've just been exploring his music and I just completely fell in love with him once again. He's a German pianist and composer. He's released 9 albums and 3 EPs, as well as 13 collaborative albums and 2 film soundtracks. So the dude is phenomenally prolific. He's 35 and he's done all of that already. Each one of them is a total wonder unto itself, and I'll overview a couple of them in a second. But basically, he was. What's cool about Nils is that he was born into a family of self-taught musicians, and he had a piano at his house. So he started playing at a really early age, and before he took his first piano lesson, he had already composed a bunch of songs. And he went to go see. He started studying. He studied for 7 years with a guy named Nahum Brodsky, who was a student of Tchaikovsky's last protege, which is important because that means he's part of a lineage that dates back to Tchaikovsky. So he's a modern day kind of part of that journey of teaching composition and piano. He basically began making music more seriously at an early age, and his parents encouraged him, which is always a positive thing. So he has a studio in Berlin called the Funk House, and in that studio he's made a few records that I think are really awesome. The first one that I want to talk about is Felt. It's a solo piano record released in 2011. This one was kind of his breakthrough record. It was recorded with a layer of felt put over the keys that is supposed to dampen the strings. Originally he did that because of his neighbors, so that it wouldn't be loud, but then he actually liked the sound that kind of took a little bit of the elongation out of the tone. He also really wanted the album, started to feel a desire to make it more intimate, so he ended up putting microphones deep in the piano, kind of close to the strings, and so it has a really intimate, like right next to your ear kind of sound. Really beautiful record. In 2012, he released a record called Screws that he made when he fell out of his bunk bed in his studio. It's like above his mixing board or whatever. Fell out of it, broke his left thumb, and so he ended up canceling this huge tour he had ahead of him, and he basically sat in contemplation, and his doctor told him not to play piano, but he had to, so he ended up writing this whole album on 9 fingers, which is pretty awesome. So there's actually 9 songs on there, and he released it to his fans for free. He basically was just like, this is the only way I got through this recovery. It's so beautiful. That album will blow your mind. Please put that one on. I think the first track is called You, and that one is one of my favorites. And he released a remix album of that album called Screws Reworked, and that one is contributions from fans. He basically had fans rework his album and put that out. That's pretty cool. 2013, he released an album called Spaces that captures the energy and improvisations of his live performances, which is really cool. He also released an album called Solo in 2015, which was recorded on a piano called the Clavins M370. It is a 12-foot tall piano. The longest string is 10 feet long, and it weighs almost 2 tons, and it's this gigantic, ridiculous piano made by this guy named, I think it's Martin Clavins. But anyway, it's an insane project. He ended up starting a fundraiser to try to make the next level. It's like a Clavins M450 or something crazy like that, an even bigger piano. But the album is super cool. It was recorded all in one take without any overdubs. He does that a lot because he's just so good. He's got some really cool collaborations with other Erase Tape label mates. Erase Tape is an amazing label. I will do a whole Fresh Friday on them. But he's collaborated with Olafur Arnalds, who's an Icelandic composer, and Peter Broderick, who's one of my favorites ever. I'm going to do a Fresh Friday on him later. But yeah, he has this album that he just released today called All Melody. I've been listening to it for 24 hours now. It's so good. It was recorded in his new studio that he filled it with synth organs and pianos and reverb chambers, and just went in there and just composed and created the studio for 2 years and composed stuff. He invited a bunch of friends to come. Now the album features percussion, trumpet, cello, viola, bass marimba on 9 of the tracks, and he has a small choir singing, which is new for him. It ends up being such an expression, a beautiful expression of his work. He's traditionally done a lot of just solo piano melodies with electronics and different sort of effects, but subtle, beautiful stuff. And this time he's kind of exploring a little bit more a variety of musical ideas with different artists. It works so well. It's so successful, and it basically shows. To me, it sounds like he went outside of his comfort zone just enough to kind of intrigue us and inspire us. Like, oh my God, what is he going to do next? But not so much that it's like, whoa, dude, you went too far, too fast. So he's basically like, to me, this phenomenal, slow-growing, sensitive, emotional, and just like compositionally glorious pianist that lives and is making music in our world today. He's 35 years old. He's got such an incredible, promising career ahead. Please go listen to any one of those albums I just talked about and get lost in the world of Nils Frahm. Happy Friday, brother. Love you.